Sunt meu del saove, kachasi evriamia kaisite daftame tomorrow homework. O homework kaisite daftame, please mangaftumendar ang kalaven tomare notepads and pencils. This is a lot of information kaisite daftame. I site penaftumen geso mangaftumendar ane tomorrow homework. Homework for lesson 2, Protestant Reformation. Kakala dui jene mangaute si chos palende, write down the names. I mangaute keren a little history pe kakala dui jene. O Jacobus Arminius o John Calvin. Write down their information, each one. Kana biangile, kana mule, kataraven, che foro, che tem. Ay Ramon kodo information. Mangafte Ramon, o Catholic Church, the word Catholic, I want you to look up the word Catholic and write down the definition of the word Catholic. Try and use different dictionaries and also a Bible dictionary. O Divano Catholic. O John Wycliffe, mangaftomet roden as much information on John Wycliffe. Let's go history, consas, sosa, let's go character, let's go gindo, I soker dia wo, maskare kangeri, Catholic. So write down John Wycliffe, and your homework is to find more information regarding this philosopher, theologian, Bible translator, reformer, seminary professor. I want as much information that you could find on John Wycliffe. This is information, a little bit about him. Catholics begin to challenge the church, call for a reform. Karkamang afte diken a little bit on the divano reform. Look up the word reform. Look up the word indulgence according to the letter of indulgence. Look that up. And also look up the word heresy, because kako divano heresy, they called John Wycliffe a heresy. O John Wycliffe ailemanus, that later Palau John line kerde more copies and our translation kai kerdiao John Wycliffe from the Latin to the English translation. Mangaftumete diken a little bit of the history of kako John Wycliffe. Later, le manus kai kerde copies of his translation. Line pabarde vico de legajen. And later, Chidepe Sao Catholics, I pende, que ja l'anglais still eviastia kataro John Wycliffe. So they opened up where they buried him. They took out his bones and they burned his bones and threw his ashes in the water because he was a heretic. Ay mangle, the Catholic Church, the penensa orenge, that this guy was wrong, what he did. But we know that he wasn't wrong. God used him. People were burned, asunenma. People were burned so that we can have the Bible. Mule manus, tesayavel tutut ayman eworba. Think about that. Here we have the word Protestant and Reformation. Mangafte roden, kakaladui divanuria, Protestant, look up the word, and Reformation. Get acquainted with this. I want you guys to know 100% what the word Protestant and Reformation means. Make a note. John Wycliffe died in the year 1385. Make a note of that. Kodo, see, very important, because the Katarobors 1385, Jikai Liangle or Martin Luther at the age of 34, that's 1517, approximately 132 years later, kay mulo o John Wycliffe avilo Martin Luther. O Martin Luther, I explained on the video a little bit about him, but I kind of said it in the wrong segments. Wo barilo in a very well-known family, Barbale, Leskide Leskoda, Todeles Ando Law School. Now, according to history, according to his testimonial, lightning hit him or close by him, and he came to the realization that there's a God, and he got into that teaching, the school system of the Catholic theology system, and he became a professor of theology, and later he became a priest in the Catholic Church. After que declara solid problems, he wrote the 95 Theses. Diaperigate katare kangri. He became a monk. Also, as you're going to study about Martin Luther, he also came against the Catholic Church where they can't marry. He got married and also had a family. He was German, and he translated the Bible from the Latin Vulgate to the German translation. And he used the Gutenberg press to do it. And so, Palakodia, we got the Gutenberg Bible. Okay. These are some of the historical facts. Acting on this belief, he wrote the Disputation on the Power and Efficiency of Indulgences. He came against Kakol Letter of Indulgence. He also was known to bring up the other 95 problems, a list of questions and proposition and debate. Now, you see, in this, he would also say, I messed up also. So, chi kerdiao John Wycliffe, kerdiao Martin Luther, he also added himself in this problem, not just point the finger. And so that's why popular legend has it that on October 31st, 1517, Martin Luther nailed a copy of the 95 Theses to the door of the Wittenberg Castle Church. This is a legend. It's part of history. It's not sure. But this is what you're going to find as you study Martin Luther. Roman Catholic Church dominated the Middle Ages. We call it the Dark Ages. The Catholics would sell indulgences there's the letter again, the letter of indulgence. Sostar, because the Catholic Church invented purgatory to scare the people. Because the Catholic Church at one point thought they had power of everything and also the soul of man. So they invented purgatory and the letter of indulgence. This was his so-called letter of thesis nailed to the Gutenberg Castle. I want you to look up the Gutenberg Castle. Your homework at this point is to find out a little bit about this history. Is it fact or fiction? Write this down. Make a point. O Luther's position. These are things that you have to look at. Ramosar, Aipenel, sola fide in Latin, saved only through faith. These are Luther's positions. He said that the Catholic Church rituals did not have the power to save souls. That was a big problem to say that. He came against himself also. The Pope had errors. That was a major thing to say, but he also involved himself in that. He said that the church officers, he's one of them, in it does not have any spiritual power. It's only through God. He also said a priesthood for all believers, which we read through scripture, that we are his royal priesthood. Luther uses the printing press. He translates the Bible into German. Garadilo, Martin Luther, for many years, I think about 20 years, Garadilo, Catharo Catholic Church, que manganas te mudarenles. But there was a problem. Because o Martin Luther, Ramosardiao 95 thesis, Aikerdia, the translation from the Latin to German, he opened the Bible to many people, and that's good. But he also opened the Bible to personal interpretation. The Catholic Church was doing good. The Catholic Church messed up. And they started adding religious things of their own. But Martin Luther did not know that him giving the Bible in the people's hands also gave the people personal interpretation. People could say their ideas now of the Bible, which caused a lot of problems. Before we get into the printing press, o Martin Luther, ci janelas que sastavel war. People used Martin Luther to come against the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was a superpower. That it had control over money, children, kainadle, father and mother. They had control over land, and they had control, according to them, over people's souls. And so, but power sazle. And they used Martin Luther because of the Gutenberg press, the popularity, all over. So now there's something that happened that's called the 30-year Civil War. See, these are things that you're going to look for. These are things you're going to read about. So it got so popular, Kako printing press was the internet of that time. The Gutenberg Bible. I would like you at this point to look up, make a note, look at different pictures on how the Gutenberg Bible looked like. Dentro Mejoji, this is a note, also what I did in the first lesson, and I continue this in the second lesson so that it could be written in your hearts. The original manuscripts, the Bible took approximately 1600 years to write. The Greek Septuagint, we know in the Hebrew as the Tanakh, the Hebrew Old Testament Bible. Alexander the Great made the Old Testament into all Greek in the year 250 BC, and this is called the Septuagint. It's only the Old Testament. Septuagint, also known as the Tanakh. So Dento Mejoji, from the year 250 BC, write this down, to the year 400 AD. Remember what I taught you in the first lesson. Between 300 and 400, they canonized the New Testament. Remember, write this down. Odivano Vulgate comes from the word vulgar, which means simple. And so for almost 1,000 years, the Bible was read, translated, and preached in the Latin translation. Then avilo John Wycliffe, which I explained to you what happened to him. Then we have Martin Luther that used the Gutenberg press to give us the Gutenberg Bible. And there you have the history on how the Bible was translated. Another picture of the Gutenberg press. This was an amazing, amazing invention that God used to put the Bible in people's hands. Then to megoji, look what God is doing. Taresele warban de maro vas. Ayame, we don't even own a Bible. Maybe. That's how important the Bible is, Shavale. Now, Areslo or Martin Luther died at the age of 63. In that Kanamulo or Martin Luther, when Martin Luther died at the age of 63, or John Calvin was 37 years old. So John Calvin was divided from Martin Luther. The Bible is in everybody's hands now, translated in the English, translated in German. And so now here comes John Calvin at the age of 37 and says, I don't agree with Martin Luther. And John Calvin gives his interpretation on predestination and election. And so John Calvin wants to reform Martin Luther's direction. So you have John Wycliffe and Martin Luther that wanted to reform from the Catholic point of view. Then avilo John Calvin that wants to reform Martin Luther view. O John Calvin, ton sama misto, take your time and read this. O John Calvin, at the age of 50 years old, he started the first academy, school. And this was in the year 1559. And it's called the Geneva Academy. And John Calvin started this. As a matter of fact, he also started the first church other than the Catholic Church. All they knew was Catholic churches. And John Calvin started a regular church. He also started the academy. That's why John Calvin is known as the most popular Protestant reformer at the time. Geneva Academy. And he started it at the age of 50. John Calvin, Mullo, and he had a person called Theodore Beza. Theodore Beza took over a school or academy, and he became the teacher of that type of theology. Kaisi Chardeau John Calvin. Ande kodo avilo Arminius, Jacobius Arminius. Barilo ande kacha school, kako system, kataro John Calvin. Jacobius Arminius came against, he argued, he debated with Theodore Beza. Ay manglat avel a sit down, tesay avel yek debate maskalende. Because now avelo Jacobius Arminius to reform John Calvin. So lesama sojalpe, John Wycliffe, Reformed Catholic Church, Martin Luther, Reformed Catholic Church, John Calvin, Reformed, Martin Luther, Jacobus Arminius, Reforming John Calvin. And this is always the debate. Kaijalpe Jiajes. And so you have an idea, a very good illustration, history of 5 points of Arminianism, 5 points of Calvinism. So, this is your homework. This is what you are to study. God bless you from the Los Angeles Church. Make time. Study your word. In Jesus' name, God bless you.